How does breaking this one rule mean that you have committed a serious Disney sin? Was Olivia Rodrigo contractually forced to produce her chart-topping singles? And how does ignoring this one clause get you fired from the series? Hi, I'm Claire. The Disney sin. This really is the start of something new. To the shock of many OG High School Musical stans, seeing a different cast in the famous Wildcat uniform was a pleasant surprise. So yes, we may have had to say goodbye to Troy and Gabriella and Sharpay's slightly devious ways, but we got a dream team, a new storyline, and a whole bunch of shocking on-set rules. Turns out that if you want to bop to the top on the set of this musical, you are going to have to agree to sign a morality clause. And let the record show that Disney does not take this paragraph lightly. In fact, if any of the cast members are found in breach of this specific part of the contract, they are instantly fired from the show. So what exactly did this morality section even mean for these rising stars? Well, because Disney is known for having a particularly young audience, all of the actors have to maintain a squeaky clean image at all times. But the weight of being perfect in front of the cameras was noticeably difficult for everyone. Given the fact that this was many of the cast members' first major gig, not being able to make mistakes was a huge burden to take on. This meant keeping out of major scandals, avoiding bad press, and no longer wearing any clothes that the team saw as revealing. But don't think that this strict morality clause was only applicable whilst filming. Once you sign it, you cannot get out of it for years, as the production house is still making use of their names, images, and publicity for the series. If any of your faves were seen to do anything out of line or doing anything deemed immoral, they'd be dumped from the franchise like a hot potato. They are also given access to a pretty badass PR team that makes sure to monitor each cast member's image in the public eye to make sure nothing scandalous is exposed. But the pressures to be perfect were just the start. It turns out that music was another non-negotiable. Prioritizing music. Alright, we know what you're probably thinking. The series is literally a musical, so obviously everyone's gotta sing, and you'd be right. But did you know that many of the stars of the series have been contractually bound to go off and pursue musical careers? And if you think about it, this strict rule has been around for ages now. From Selena Gomez to Demi Lovato and Raven-Symoné, Disney definitely pushes its actors to release new music. So yes, on the set of HSM the Musical, the series, everyone is belting out some pretty awesome tunes. But behind the scenes, it seems that the cast is being asked to drop solo singles. And you may have already seen some of their latest hits. Does the song Driver's License sound familiar? Yep. Well, as soon as High School Musical, the series hit Disney+, Olivia was encouraged to jump on the popularity of the series and dropped a song that literally broke the internet. And we have done a few videos on all the tea behind that famous song, so make sure to check them out too. So while Olivia wasn't exactly forced to drop the bop, the cast of the show is definitely strongly encouraged to pursue solo careers. They even got Olivia and Joshua Bassett to pen an original series for the official soundtrack since they both dabble in songwriting. Especially since they are already in the public eye, it makes it a lot easier for Disney to help launch their musical careers. But creating ordinal hits. Now, they aren't exactly forcing the cast into the studio for solo careers, but there is one thing that is so non-negotiable that breaking this rule is considered a sin. Work first, life later. As we all know, Disney Channel is a mega corporation. The company is so successful that they have created films, television shows, and even launched a streaming service, Disney+, where we all binge-watched HSM the Musical, the series. But just know that with the show getting tons of streams, launching the careers of all of the characters and giving us so many tunes, the cast had to basically give up their freedom to give us all of this content. There was a dark side to all of the things that this cast was creating. Behind the scenes, Disney enforced a strict work comes first rule on the set of the musical. This cast had to do a lot more than just showing up to the studio every day. They were expected to attend vocal classes, acting lessons, and do all of the necessary press for the show, no matter what is happening in their personal lives. Yep, they always had to be available for the producers for all things related to the show. That meant being called in for reshoots or flying for a publicity opportunity. Disney ultimately owned their time, and they had no choice in the matter once they signed on the dotted line. But here is the craziest part. If you failed to attend any of the rehearsals, press shoots, or training sessions, you ran the risk of being fired from the series in an instant. And with many actors and actresses having previously auditioned for the roles on the show, Disney definitely had backups in the event that someone had to be cut. Obviously, this cast knows how to follow these strict rules, even when they don't always agree, and the next on-set rule is proof of this. Goodbye, creative freedom. Look, I'm sure that we have all had a couple of ideas for a High School Musical reboot. Once a wildcat, always a wildcat, right? Not really, actually. The new Disney Plus series is adored for all of the talented actors and actresses that they have. They can all sing, dance, and act, and we're pretty sure they had some ideas of their own when it came to the show. But unfortunately, adding anything new to the show script was a privilege that only the show's producers had. Turns out that the cast may have had a few thoughts on future storylines, and well, let's just say that they were met with a hard no. Being on the famous network meant leaving all of the ideas up to the executives, which must have been frustrating for everyone, given the fact that they are also incredibly talented and natural-born creatives. But signing off your creative freedom was just another rule our favorite cast had to deal with in order to bring us this epic series. Encouraged relationships. You know how everyone's fave pastime is shipping all of the cast members? Well, Disney absolutely loves it. Joe Jonas recently shared how the franchise often encourages everyone to date one another. It is one of their best marketing tools. Because, well, who doesn't love an IRL love story? And with the cast spending lots of time together, it's not exactly surprising that they would all bond and even potentially start dating. So while this isn't technically a forced rule, it is heavily implied. Disney devs wants the show's characters to have on-screen and off-screen chemistry. And we've seen this play out from Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears to Joe Jonas and Demi Lovato. And it seemed that Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett were next, much like the original HSM members, Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens. It seems that when people saw the chemistry between Nene and Ricky, everyone was hoping that the electricity Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett had was the same once the cameras were rolling. But the rumor mill started when Joshua revealed that he improvised the famous "I love you" scene with Olivia's character, Nene. According to the LA Times, he changed the lines to reflect more of their personal relationship, and it was so impactful, it made Olivia tear up. But if you were hoping that these two were together, they aren't. Sorry to crush your shipping dreams, but if you want a little feel-good info, you can rest easy knowing that Olivia calls Joshua her best friend and says that she loves him. And quite frankly, we love them too. Long hours, longer days. A lot of things went into the production of this musical masterpiece, obviously, and the cast of the series definitely have the timestamps to prove it. Turns out that creating this reboot took a lot of hours, so much so that the production house made them sign contracts stipulating that they'd be training for the series way before filming even started, which meant lots and lots of rehearsals. Yep, next up on Disney's long list of rules for this cast was that they had crazy rehearsal schedules to make sure that everything was perfect for film day. This meant attending a vocal camp where they would have to practice harmonies, learn lyrics, and learn how to protect their voices given that they were singing so much. Oh, but let's not forget the fact that there is also some serious acting involved. Not only were they expected to have memorized the script, but expected to go to daily rehearsals too. Especially since this was the first time many of the cast members were on a major production set. And with the weight of the original High School Musical movies doing so well, the team on this series put the pressure on. The production house also had to factor in that many of the show's cast members were still in high school, so hours had to be dedicated to their schooling too. At the end of the day, the rule was that children between the ages of 8 and 18 are expected to work between the times of 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. upon being given 2 days' notice. And if we're being honest, that's a lot of hours to be working. You get what you get. It's easy to think that once you sign on for a Disney Channel show, especially one that is doing particularly well, you will have room in the future to negotiate your salary. Well, that isn't the case with Disney management. See, on this set, salaries are non-negotiable, and it's a rather strict rule, too. None of the cast members, team representatives, or parents were allowed to negotiate their client's salary. At the end of the day, you got what you got, and you had the option to either take it or leave it. The studio is known for not budging when it comes to how they pay their actors, and this was a rule that the cast of this series had to get used to. So while we aren't exactly sure how much each character is being paid, we just hope that they are being fairly compensated for their work, because it is awesome. But we want to know what your thoughts are on these strict on-set rules. Does following these non-negotiables put you off? Or do you think you'd be willing to follow them? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching!